Morning, YouTube, and a happy Tuesday to you. I hope wherever and whenever you're at, you're having a good day or about to have a good day or have had a good day. Wanted to take a moment this lovely, chilly morning to talk about Joe Biden's vaccine mandate and an interesting article that I came across yesterday on Fox News. Like everything to do with the mainstream media, Fox News is not to be trusted entirely because they have their slant and their bias, and they're mainstream media, so you can't trust them. But every now and again, you come across a little nugget of joy from them. And in this particular case, it was an op-ed by David Bossie. I think his name. I think I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Anyway, David Bossie. And he wrote about the possibility that in order to salvage electoral results and election wins coming up in the 2022 midterms, which are unfortunately just 13 months away, or fortunately as the case may be for whichever side you're on. I say unfortunately because we're about to re-enter the realm of everything being politicized beyond what we've been seeing the last, 6 years, which is going to distract from a lot of things that need to get done, like sensible infrastructure, sensible, some cases, taxation, sensible healthcare reforms or additions, sensible regulations repealed and implemented, and just a lot of sensible governance in general is going to get tossed by the wayside as 435 representatives in the House of Representatives decide to go out for re-election, hit the campaign trail, and the 33 senators who are up for re-election themselves, or the 33 senatorial elections kick into high gear this next year as well. So brace yourselves. If we thought it was bad in 2020, this is shaping up to be a pretty significant bloodbath. And why I'm talking about this in the first place is because Mr. Bossie is of the opinion that to help salvage Democrat chances in the midterms, Joe Biden may come out and say that we did it. We've got herd immunity. Everyone's safe. No one needs a vaccine mandate anymore. Still be careful about your masks, but, if you don't want the jab, you don't have to get it. We're fine. Everything's good. You can still vote for me. Vote for my people. Vote for the blue ties. We're the guys. We did it. We're the ones. We took care of everything for you. We got you safe. We got you squared away. Got you safe. Yeah, these are the same folks who spent the majority of 2020 ranting about if Donald Trump's initiatives brought forth a vaccine, you wouldn't be able to trust it. You shouldn't take it, and it will probably kill you. And then as soon as they won in 2020 and their victories were confirmed in 2020, they about faced immediately and said, yeah, you should all get the vaccine, like right away. It's going to save your life. It's like, and then they had the audacity to be surprised when everyone was like, no, we're not going to get the jab. And they're like, but what? But we said you're supposed to get it, man. We're the ones who told you. We're supposed to be the ones who know what's going on, man. It's like, no. You can't spend a year trashing a vaccine initiative, and then when it suddenly, appears by a combination of magic and science, depending on your understanding of it. And for me, my understanding borders on both magic and science. I'll just be honest with you. You can't spend a year trashing it and then expect people to suddenly believe what you say when you about face on it. So a little bit of some hard lesson there learned. Well, you hope it was learned anyway. But anyway, I'm rabbit trailing. I need to get back on topic here. And that is to salvage the first 2 years of his presidency and give Democrats a better shot coming into the midterms. Mr. Bossie is of the opinion that Biden might reverse course on the mandate and also might reverse course on CDC guidance regarding the vaccines and possibly even masks. Who knows? I didn't read the full article because I think it was behind a paywall, or I just didn't care to read it because I was busy. One of the two. I honestly do forget. But the key point is that Joe Biden might reverse his course in order to salvage poll numbers, to repair public goodwill, and maybe regain some public trust. Who knows? So for all of us truck drivers who have been concerned about various phases of the vaccine mandate, or for those of us truck drivers who have refused to get the vaccine because of, belief in the wrong conspiracy theories, or belief in some possible side effect of the vaccine that may or may not actually happen, or just a closely held belief that the vaccine is not in their best interests for their actual health because of a pre-existing condition or some sort of immunocompromise they've had, like cancer or diabetes or something else, where they really are concerned that the ingredients in the vaccine might harm them or harm their recovery from a previous issue. A lot of folks are very concerned, a lot of folks not getting it for those reasons. Again, I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine back in June. I don't regret it. I don't really have any concern about it, because those people who believe that the vaccine is going to be, it's a long game to set up, as many people as possible for a future mass culling of the human race or some sort of mind control. I think you're a fool, because if it really is some long game mass murder plot, where's the tax revenue going to come from? Because people like me who actually go out and actually work and actually pays taxes, fuel taxes for the truck, IFTA taxes for, whatever IFTA actually ends up paying for, whether it's just revenue collection scheme or it doesn't matter, as well as income taxes, plus Medicare, Social Security. I pay my taxes quarterly and then also every year. So if they're trying to kill me, they're now losing revenue every year, because if I'm dead, then they can't get tax money from me. I mean, think a little bit here, folks. The vaccine is not a mass murder conspiracy. Now, COVID-19 may have been, and that there are legitimate cases to be made about COVID-19 being, supposedly or potentially being something, evil. It just got away too soon before they could really maximize its potential. Who knows? But the mandate could be coming to a close soon, as Joe Biden looks for any strike he can grasp at in order to salvage his disastrous public opinion. Because let's be honest here, folks, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're blue, red, or in the middle. I skew middle. Joe Biden's presidency to this point has been a disaster. We thought Donald Trump had a rough first year. Joe Biden is blowing Donald Trump out of the water. Joe Biden cannot get his progressive agenda through because the progressives are not letting him get the basic minimums through in order to get things through the door. They want everything immediately. And there's enough, moderate Democrats and, of course, Republicans are firewalling against it, no matter what, just on principle, out of sheer bloody-mindedness, because, well, that's what the opposition party does, as we saw during Trump's presidency. And then, of course, you've got Afghanistan and the disastrous pullout efforts there that have been exploding in his face all year. And then, of course, can't forget the migrant crisis at the border, So these are all factors that, depending on who your election preferences favor, these are all factors that are adding up for a very brutal 2022 midterm election. But, well, we will know when we will know what's going to happen. I'm trying to refrain from projecting or handicapping or giving my serious thoughts on it, just because, I don't have all the facts. I don't have all the information needed to make those determinations. I do have a preference for how I want the election to turn out coming up in 2022. Whether or not I see what I want to see remains to be seen. I mean, being an Illinois resident, I would like to see Illinois go Republican at its state level, because I believe we need to do some serious reworking of Illinois' government. Illinois needs a new state constitution in order to address its gargantuanly terrible pension crisis, and Illinois' unwillingness to actually make proper budgetary decisions is actually giving me really serious thought about moving out of the state when I decide where I want to buy some property at some point. But I know Missouri and Wisconsin have a lot of property, and Iowa too have some good land values and some good places near interstates where I can still do my job and run my business and have a lot of fun out here on the road. But we'll see what happens. So we'll see if Biden actually pulls the trigger on that to try to save face. But, well, let's be honest here. Depending on who you are, you've already made up your mind on the 2022 elections. If you voted blue in the 20 elections, depending on your situation, you're probably going to vote blue in 22. If you voted red in 20, you cannot wait to vote red again in 22. If you voted against Trump in 20 because you thought he was an arrogant blowhard, which is true, he is an arrogant blowhard, and he will always be an arrogant blowhard. If you thought that was enough to vote him out of office, okay, maybe you change your mind in 22. Maybe you don't. If you voted for Biden and you regret it, maybe you vote red in 22. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of time yet between now and election day in 2022, but it's about to get even uglier and spicier than it has been the last few months, or just a different way of looking at the same ugliness that we've been seeing out of Washington, D.C., time out of mind. And the older I get, the more I realize just how ridiculously ugly our capital is, and how terrible a lot of governance has been handled out of our national capital the last ever. It makes me want to run for office and see if I can make any kind of change, but then you see the folks who do run for office and they win election and they get into office and they get in there and they realize just how stacked against them the deck actually is. If they can be a useful tool, they get stood up and propped up and supported by the various whoever. I mean, look at AOC. By all rights, she should be a nobody in Congress, but because she had the audacity to beat an established Democrat insider, she became a lightning rod overnight, for good or for ill. Look at Donald Trump. He had the audacity to run for, Republican nomination, transformed in some ways, for good and for ill, American politics, at least temporarily, maybe permanently. We'll find out. Maybe our government will be better and we wouldn't have to deal with this ridiculousness like these absurd vaccine mandates or terrible pullouts from combat zones if we did have people like me running for office, truck drivers and doctors and teachers, not lawyers, not career politicians, not the wealthy, running for office. Engineers and surveyors. Maybe we should be the ones running the show instead of just sitting on the sidelines and being angry about it on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else. I don't know. That's my 2 cents for the morning, folks. Take it as you will. Have a safe and wonderful day, and we'll see you down the road.